All right, you guys, we're going to be talking about insurance. We will go over this in class, obviously, but I just wanted to give you highlights of this. If your parents are insurance salesmen, they would know much more about it than I would. But this is basically for the kids that don't have access for, to talk to an insurance agent prior or anything like that. So what insurance is? It is a way to transfer risk. The risk is you driving around. Now, we drive around so much that many of us don't really look at driving as a risk. And of course, we live in Watertown, Minnesota, which, contrary to belief, is not that, like the real environment of what driving can be like. Yep, you're going to interact with people. Some of us have false sense of reality while we drive around Watertown. I know many kids, they'll say, I'm a great driver, and they do look like a good driver. But as soon as I drive with them to any other city like Plymouth, Ridgedale Mall area, something like that, the shakiness and the lack of understanding of what the driving task can really be like shows up big time. So you want to look at this as, it is a risk, more than many of us think. And what happens is basically the insurance company takes the risk for you and you give them money to do that. So what you do is you drive around, you're the risk, but they say, we'll be here for you if anything happens. So, of course, they're there for monetary issues, if there's fixes or anything that might come up with accidents. And you don't get that money back. You just pay them to be there for you to kind of be a blanket coverage for if something happens. Now, there's different types of insurance, but the main ones that kind of go along with when you're driving: personal injury protection. And again, you can stop the video and go over these. You're going to want to have some notes on these just for your review. Personal injury protection, that is going to cover you and your income. So if you're hurt in an auto accident, you get covered by personal injury protection if you can't work anymore or for a small period of time. This is more of like an AFLAC type of coverage where they will give you money so you don't go broke just because you were in an auto accident, okay, or any other type of accident as well. Liability. This is basically something that covers other drivers and their cars. So if you hit them, your liability coverage covers them. Just like you have health insurance and you have medical, dental, and eye care. The eye care costs don't cover if you broke your arm, and your dental care doesn't cover if you need to stay in the hospital for something. So liability covers the other people and their car. The collision is a section of your insurance that covers damage to other cars when you're involved in an accident. It covers your car, excuse me, when you're involved in an accident. So you hit a telephone pole or you hit another car, or something else happens just to your car, it covers your car. It doesn't cover your body. That's personal injury protection. Then comprehensive is our last one. Whether you believe in them or not, it's covering what's called act of God. And basically, this is like a deer running across the road. There's no way to avoid it. You hit the deer. Fire, flood, hail, tornado. I had hail damage last summer, and yep, sure enough, the hail hit my car. Nothing I could do about it. It was just sitting on my driveway. Many of us had hail damage in last summer's hailstorm. It's not out of any of our control. So what determines your premium? Your premium is what you're going to pay for your insurance. And you should be ready to pay for a lot. And your parents are going to pay for a lot. And that's why driving becomes stressful for them, or you driving becomes stressful. How much you have for coverage on your car. If you have a fancy car, you're going to want a lot of coverage because you don't want to pay $50,000 for a car and then have to pay again when it gets wrecked. Your age. You guys are going to struggle because you're young, and that's just the way it is. When you hit about 25, 30, it starts to go down because now you're in more of that married, have kids, stereotypical age range. Gender. The boys, you guys tend to get in the big accidents over time, and girls get in smaller accidents, but more of them. So girls usually it costs less. I think that's starting to really even out, but it's just something we do need to consider. Type of vehicle. Fancy cars, they are going to cost more to fix. And mileage. If you drive farther, you're taking more of a risk. If you don't drive as far, you're not. And your driving record itself, that sticks with you for 3